Hello, everyone. This is Yonks with REtoken, the real estate DAO, and we have some very important DAO business that we are going to be sharing with you today. We are going to be talking about how to DAO business with some bank accounts, business bank accounts. So getting right into it, I do want to share that we've got Tyler, Mrs. Yonks with us, Amy, and KR Win on the live stream. So what we have as far as to provide a little backstory, looking over here at snapshot.org is the governance framework that we use for the decisions and process for all the things here for managing our DAO business. So earlier here, we created this banking and crypto accounts fiat on and off ramp. So just taking a look at this, I've actually got this in another tab. And then we also created a couple other ones. And specifically, we're going to be talking about RIP9, RIP10, resolution to open a new business account at Avanti Bank for REtoken, and then RIP11. But first, I wanted to show you the one that I just spoke about here. And this is one that we put forward that had multiple different options. And this was a ranked choice voting. Now, it probably in hindsight would have been better to use a weighted choice, because then that would have resulted with, because we were intentionally planning on exploring multiple of these opportunities, because our expectation is that it shouldn't cost us anything to have an account somewhere. So we'll see if we're able to deliver the underlying objective. And I'm going to just read here real quick of this goal. So let me read both of these. The problem: REtoken needs to have a crypto on-ramp from any fiat proceeds received, i.e. Hero X, an American-made solar prize. So that was something that we unfortunately didn't have a strong enough proposal for Tokentown to move forward, but Tokentown will absolutely be created, and we'll be talking more about Tokentown specifically in 2022. Very excited about that. So on to the goal. Our goal is to have a single bank account that can receive ACH, wire transfers, and then on-ramp into an agreed upon cryptocurrency that can be immediately transferred into a REtoken Gnosis safe multi-sig treasury wallet. So that's the problem and the goal that we put forward in this proposal. And as you can see, Avanti Bank was overwhelmingly the clear leader in that. And like one of the cool things about this ranked choice is that you can see, like here, I actually filled out all three options: Avanti Bank, Uphold.com, Kraken, Dharma, Gate, and Coinbase. Those were the choices that we had. So, and the looking at the other two that we're going to talk about specifically, Uphold and Avanti Bank, and let's take a look. So this passed unanimously, which was not a surprise because that was the clear leader in that other situation. So the way that we created this proposal is as a resolution to open a new business account at Avanti Bank for REtoken DAO LLC. So REtoken DAO is a Wyoming DAO LLC. We're algorithmically managed with our Polygon ERC20 smart contract. Pretty simple stuff from a governance standpoint. So again, the goal and the problem were just restated here. And then on this proposal, we proposed that myself, Jason Yonker, or Amy Lou Marcel can open a business account. So again, this is the document that we created here through our governance proposal that we should be able to go and act in good faith with Avanti Bank to open that account. And then I'll talk about the other one for Uphold, but let's actually just go to Avanti's website right now. So we aren't quite sure if Avanti Bank is open for taking customers. I mean, all indications from what we've seen here is that they're currently working on that process. Now, I haven't seen anywhere to actually sign up for Avanti Bank as a customer. So unless somebody else has something to chime in on this, I'm going to just click on the subscribe for updates, and I'm going to put in our email address. And I'm going to go on mute, bring this into another tab so that our REtoken email isn't live streamed. I don't think it's a hidden thing, but if anybody else wanted to chime in some thoughts while I'm completing this form to subscribe for updates.
Sure. I am super excited about one more step that makes us a legitimate business. So one of the things that I've noticed in DAO culture is nobody wants to have legal entities. Nobody wants to have proper banking. Nobody wants to do anything that the business world has prioritized. And we're doing all that. So super excited about that. I think it's going to add more and more credibility to us as our projects keep moving forward. So excited to bridge between crypto and fiat banking. I think it's exciting. Amy or Carolyn, you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I've sent them a message. I think a month ago or 2 months ago, and we have the voting, and they haven't responded. So I don't know if they're functional or not. But I'm looking forward to. I'm in the traditional way of doing business too, and merging the two digital world and the old business world, uh, and making it more concrete is a good thing. That's all for me.
Yeah, I agree. And as far as Avanti goes, it's definitely a real organization because their CEO is Caitlin Long, and she's a fairly big hitter and prominent in the blockchain and crypto world. So the fact that she's involved with this thing and they've been written up, and you can see on Jason's screen, American Banker, CoinDesk, Forbes, Payments.com. So they definitely are going to be a real bank. I am assuming that they don't have some license or whatever they need to do it. Otherwise, I'm sure they're probably chomping at the bit to go live. They even patented, if you see in their disclaimers, it's patent pending. So
Yeah, I've heard of Caitlin, and I'm sure she's really good in that area. I didn't know she runs it, but that's Avanti Bank.
yeah, I think Jason, did you say you met her in Wyoming or Austin or somewhere?
No, she was one of the speakers at the Wyoming DAO Day at the where Senator Loomis, and I did meet Senator Loomis at Wyoming DAO Day, and that's one of the things on my Twitter feed that I posted a picture of. Is a great experience. So all indications again are that Avanti doesn't appear to be set up for currently onboarding customers. We subscribed for updates. It'll be interesting to see what we hear on that. And if it does, like this is going out very publicly. I mean, we have this live stream going out to YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And I did tag the Twitter handle for both Uphold and Avanti. So, we'll see where this goes. We have an interest that was very clearly expressed for Avanti Bank in RIP9. Overwhelmingly, this is something that our community picked as and it was some pretty strong, and not all of these I would say would meet. And the question is one of the reasons that put forward the proposal for Uphold. And I'm going to actually segue into that conversation right now. But Uphold showed up on my radar, and I'm going to toggle over here to RIP 11, the resolution to open a new business account at uphold.com for REtoken DAO LLC. So for those that may not be familiar with Uphold, as you can see, or you may not, but like I use the Brave browser, and one of the things that started showing up on my radar is that the Brave, and this is the Brave rewards right here. And one of the things is that you can see here is that Uphold is the one of the solutions partners for the Brave browser. And I opened up in a personal account at Uphold. It was an absolutely fabulous experience. And a long story that I'm not going to tell right now, but Tyler and I have opened up more than our fair share of business accounts as serial entrepreneurs. And going back here to one of the business accounts that we do personally use is Kraken, and that's been a fabulous experience. And we may look at Kraken or Coinbase or some of these others I think we actually created a on our proposal. RIP 12 was the resolution to create a new wallet at dharma.io for REtoken. So that's a similar dynamic. I don't know if Dharma will actually be able to do the payments processing, and that's the thing, like getting some initial experience, because one of the reasons that we are looking for doing this, like right now today, this live stream is being facilitated via two paid services. One is Zoom, and the Zoom service that we have to facilitate our live streams is not a paid service, or it is a paid service. The other paid service that we use for facilitating our live streams is Restream. So like it came up literally, I think yesterday on one of our live streams, as far as from the community talking about like, because right now, the Zoom account that we used is controlled by myself and Mrs. Yonks. And, you know, one of the things that we would like to do is to move this Zoom account that we're using primarily for creating content for REtoken and facilitating our live stream events from a personal account to an account that can be used by the community for the scheduling of the REtoken live stream events. Now, we don't have a way to pay for Zoom because Zoom doesn't currently accept cryptocurrency. So the need for us to like just do some basic business services with other companies that aren't as crypto forward, this is an immediate need and opportunity that we have. And like when we were in an ad hoc conversation, just to provide a little backstory yesterday, and looking through this content lens REtoken, it seemed apparent that there's an opportunity to share this experience with the rest of the DAO ecosystem, which is why that we're live streaming this, like, you know, what a lot of people would consider, you know, behind the scenes type of stuff. And that's one of the things that we like, having the environment where we're being very open. We have a full transparency ethos here, culture at REtoken, and we have fun. I mean, like already talked about the POAP that we created here for today's business account, because this is a milestone. I mean, this is an important milestone. This is like us moving more towards a full functioning, legitimate business organization. So that being said, let's get this conversation going here. Going back, nothing really special in this proposal, is mostly copied and pasted from the one that I already read. Similar language here, same proposal. Let's just open up this uphold.com in a new window and get this process going for us creating. And one of the things that we will do here too is we'll speak to this. I think that our upcoming, and let me actually do this in one of the things that I do to keep things separate. This is my like Yonks profile. And I don't know if people have paid attention, but like, got multiple profiles. So this is a profile that I use for doing the stuff with REtoken. So like over here, our Google Calendar. This is in the Google Calendar. I like looking at this one because it's got some pretty colors on it. It doesn't look that pretty when you pull it in. But anyway, uphold.com. Let's navigate to uphold.com with the browser here. So we're going to actually go through, sign up, and I did see, let's see. All right, so let's go through the sign up process. And I don't know if this will, so right here, and I'm going to make this bigger so that everybody can see it. And you can see it's got some fairly easy workflow. Already have an account, log in, individual or business. So we're doing a business account. And I'm going to, again, pull this screen off the window and create a email, or put in the email address and generate a password. One of the things that we use, and this is a best practice that we're using, is a password generator. Mrs. Yonks and I use LastPass, and this is something that we can share with you, Amy. I'm not sure what that'll look like as far as the ability for us to add other like authorized signers or whatever language that they use here. But I'm going to pull this off the screen. And if you want to talk to that, Mrs. Yonks, while I'm inputting the email address and creating a password, country where the business is registered. We are a Wyoming DAO LLC based in, go ahead, Tyler.
You wanted me to talk about why we use LastPass?
Or just something. I can't multitask, and I'm pulling this window off the screen. So
I got it. Thanks, babe. I appreciate the honesty. That's why I married you. Also, you feed me, which is delightful. So a couple things on LastPass. If you're not familiar with LastPass.com, it's a password generator. You have all new passwords every time. All the passwords are long, multi-character. Usually we set it, 20, 30, whatever the max password characterization is. And we can share those with people who need to get into it. And if we need to, it'll let you autofill the password. But if we need to change it for whatever reason gets compromised, we can just change it in one place, and then that changes everybody's login. So we don't ever have to worry about somebody having the wrong login or the wrong password, and everybody will be up to date. The other thing that we've realized is, I'm not sure if you guys all know that if you've ever gotten hacked, or you hear people, banks or Target or whatever, getting hacked over the years, it's not necessarily because your bank got hacked. It's because they hacked your library card or your dry cleaner or your gym, because your password was 12345, and then you use the same thing, you use the same password for your bank, and so they'll break into your gym, and then they'll turn around and use that with your bank. So the thing about LastPass, and the reason why we're going this way, is we want to make sure we have a unique login. It's long, it's complicated. It, by definition, won't be the same as any other password that any of the users have ever used, because it's randomly generated, and these passwords are functionally uncrackable. They're so long. They all have capitals and numbers and symbols, and they're not anything. They're all random. So we think this is hopefully about as hack proof as we can get it. Our passwords are really long and complicated and random, and we don't ever reuse any of them. So we're trying to make this thing as hack proof as we can.
And I did want to show, because I got the password generated with LastPass. So thanks for telling that little backstory while I was in creating the password. And then the thing that I wanted to bring some attention to, in order to open a business account, you must submit proof that you have the authority to do so. So that snapshot proposal that we created that passed is the authority that allows myself or Amy Lou Marcella to proceed with the authority of opening the account, because it's irrefutable blockchain on the blockchain there with snapshots. So that's one of the reasons that we did that, because I went through this workflow a little bit and I saw this paragraph and I was like, well, here's why we need that resolution to open a bank account, a business account. I don't know if this really constitutes as a bank account, but it will, I believe, provide some functionality that we can do the fiat payment recurring and bridge to crypto, or vice versa, send crypto from our multi-signosis safe into our Uphold account. So I'm going to go ahead and click on next. I haven't ever been through this process, so I don't know what we're going to see. We're all going through this here for the first time right now. So let's go ahead and do this. And we've got all of the documentation. So I'm going to pull this off of here. The business name is REtoken DAO LLC, and I'm going to pull this off of the window here because I don't want the tax ID number. We do have an EIN, but that's not something that we're wanting to circulate on a live stream. So I'm going to kick the conversation back to you, Tyler, while I pull that in here real quick for this.
Okay, thanks, babe. So the other thing about Wyoming DAO LLCs are this is an LLC, but it's a little bit different because a DAO is not actually a legal business structure. A DAO LLC is a legal business structure. It's legal in Wyoming as of, I think, July 1st. And what we are doing with the legal agreement is, when we started the organization, we weren't sure how we were going to be managed. So we listed originally as members, and then we took a vote and we changed that to be algorithmically managed. And all algorithmically managed means is that we vote on things through snapshot, and that's how we're governed. So nobody has the ability to just operate unilaterally, or there is no such thing as an operating committee. We don't have founding members. We don't have anything. It's, if you're a REtoken holder, you can vote. The more REtoken you have, the more your vote counts. And that's how we make decisions as a community. And one of the other benefits of opening this bank account is, along with our tax ID number, we did win some bounties. We're planning on in 2022 starting some more processes to earn money for the DAO. And that means tax returns, and that means a little bit more complication financially. So operating in the fiat space is really helpful, partially for bills, but also partially because we're a crypto business, but we're also a real business because we operate things in dollars. So hopefully that that clarifies for everybody else. We do have a tax ID number. We are an EIN. We are planning on filing tax returns as the entity, and any refunds would go back into the treasury, and any payments due would come out of the treasury. So a little different than if you own an LLC personally. If any of you guys are business owners and you're trying to operate as a pass-through, we obviously don't want income and losses and gains and tax consequences to flow through to Jason or anybody else personally, or Amy. So we want this thing to be a standalone entity. We want to be totally up and up. And particularly as the numbers get bigger, we want everybody to know that we're US based. We play by the rules. We're in compliance. If we end up issuing a securities token, having this track record will go a long way toward proving that we've always been trying to do things correctly and transparently and legally. So every building block of trust that we can put together, that's what we're trying to do.
And here's an opportunity that I think that we should put forward as far as an opportunity for the DAO to get a solution in place. It's already come up on some previous conversations as far as the benefit of obtaining a Dun and Bradstreet number, or a DUNS number, DUNS. And that's one of the things, that credible businesses work on doing. And one of the things for doing that, and I've been through that process with some other businesses, is having a phone number for the business. And unfortunately today, that's still one of the KYC, know your customer components that exist. So this is an opportunity for us to explore, because right now we don't have a business phone number for REtoken. And I wanted to show, because I input the EIN for REtoken on the previous screen, or a lot of times that's referred to as a TIN, a tax ID number. And I just wanted to provide here the next screen on this sign up process. For now, I'm going to go ahead and use my own personal cell phone number that's already very transparent, because it's the same number that was used on the founding articles of organization. So my cell phone number is already out there, but this is something that I think that we can and should explore in Q1 of 2022 as the DAO itself, as far as potential solutions for that. So I had on the screen here the REtoken DAO LLC operating agreement. If you wanted to kind of talk to that a little bit, I'm going to input the phone number, and then I'll come back in after I do that and agree, because I'll go ahead and verify the, because as you can see here, I've got to complete this, and the whole business with the verification SMS codes. That's a very common thing, especially within the business bank account type of sector. So back to you, Tyler.
Sure. So one of the things that we are looking at doing too is creating structure, because a lot of people have been coming to us. There's kind of an interesting thing about DAOs, and we were actually on a call with another DAO that we're good friends with this morning, and they said, "Oh, we're just a DAO. We're not a company. We don't pay taxes. We don't do reporting. We don't have any idea who the members are." And these are people that are dealing with hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars. And they are truly global. I know people from at least 5 countries, and it's going to be really interesting, because our thought on crypto in the US is I'm assuming that I know the four of us on the call are US based, and if anybody's listening from outside the US, the Securities and Exchange Commission's policy in general is if you operate in the US at all, then they have jurisdiction over you globally. So one of the things that there's a fairly large crypto exchange called Binance that actually they don't allow you to open up accounts at all if they're in the US, because I think they're based out of China and they don't want to be regulated by the SEC. And you can't even say, you can't even lie about what country you're in. They track your IP address. It actually defaults to, it looks like you're in the US. We don't want your business. You can't open this account. Like, please leave the page. Like, they don't want you to. So they actually open up a separate entity that only does business in the US. And so in our DAO, one of the things we're going to be really careful of is everything that we do, even if we start operating outside the US, we follow American business standards, because we're likely to get regulated that way around the world eventually, even though some of it's a little fuzzy right now. I think that's coming, and because that's the way that those are the positions the SEC and FINRA have taken in other industries. Anybody that touches the US gets regulated like the US. And that's why we want to follow all the same US global business standards.
So just getting back on track with the uphold process, I just verified the email, and so we can keep this show going here with finding out. So this is the next step: apply for business accounts. So we did very basic stuff. We added the phone number and the email address, and now this is where we probably have to upload our business documentation. So let's go ahead and click on the apply for a business account and see what this next thing does here. So, and one of the things too, and this would probably be a good opportunity to provide a little additional perspective as far as the business address that we use. And I would consider this more of an interim solution. And it's just one of the things that Mrs. Yonks and I have implemented to keep the costs down, because and I'll let you talk about that, and I'll put in the details. The business address is definitely not like confidential information, and you can talk to that, Tyler, while I'm putting that in this form right now.
Sure. So in Wyoming and most states, if you have an LLC, you have to have a registered agent. So there are a handful of registered agent companies that will receive your mail, will receive legal paperwork, subpoenas if you ever get sued. It's basically just your official address that is staffed during all business hours, and they can make sure that if the state needs to get you something, that they can go through your registered agent. So we have that. I think it was like $35 or $50 or something like that for a year. And other than that, the tools that we've been using for the address, we use a mailbox service that receives our mail. They open it and scan it. It is a suite number. It's kind of like a UPS store address. It's not a PO box. So we do have a street address, but it's not very expensive. I think that's our street address costs us $20 a month. And that way we have an actual street address that we can use. We have a registered agent. And again, we've been trying to keep the tools to a minimum. I think all told, for everything for the last 6 months, Jason and I spent maybe $1,300, and probably over half that was a 1 year of the 1 year of the restream that we got on a pretty steep discount for the Halloween special.
So looking at this next component, again, I'll pull this off the screen, but just scrolling through the input form here as far as applying for business account at Uphold. So email address, applying to be an Uphold partner, not at this time. We're referred by an Uphold partner, no. We are in LLC, Wyoming DAO LLC. And I'll put in the, again, this is asking for the EIN, and the date of establishment is July 26th. And oh, this would probably be a good opportunity because the paperwork, and this isn't something that I've even sent out a tweet on, but one of the previous milestones, and I'm going to bring that in because this would be a good opportunity, because this was definitely a DAO milestone for us when we switched from a member managed DAO to an algorithmically managed DAO. And that was something that Tyler was already speaking to a little bit earlier on the conversation. So let me bring this in. This is a tweet or a screenshot that I was going to share here. And as you can see, this just got filed with the Wyoming Secretary of State, literally like not even a week ago. And this is one of the, again, the amendments that we put forward, because whenever we formed the REtoken DAO as a Wyoming DAO LLC, on July the 26th, we were a member managed, and through the process of the Gitcoin hackathon, we participated as a team effort as the DAO, and we actually won the grand prize of the Gitcoin Decentralized Governance Hackathon. And that's some of the history of REtoken that was worth talking about. So this is something that I wanted to show you here, to like Tyler said, we are intentionally choosing to operate as a legal entity. And I'm gonna pull in some of the additional information. I'm gonna go back to the LLC agreement, and I saw that Teresa popped on here, and I don't know if you want to engage her in any of the conversation, but I'm gonna leave it on the LLC operating agreement while I finish populating some of these details on this intake form.
Yeah, so Teresa, you'd asked a question about this account is for the DAO. One of the things that we're realizing is there's certain bills that the DAO is incurring that Jason and I have just been paying personally, but we would like to put forth a proposal that the DAO starts paying for things like the Zoom account and a few other things that are our monthly bills. And so we can start operating as a business and have an account as REtoken instead of just our personal, Jason and my personal account. And as we start ramping into 2022 with more opportunities to earn money as REtoken, we want to have an on-ramp and an off-ramp in and out of crypto. So if we get an award or a grant or a prize or whatever that is just directly in crypto, then we can just put it in REtoken's notes to safe. But if we need to pay a bill or file taxes or whatever, or if we get a grant or sell a service in cash that we need to ramp into crypto, we need a place to put it in cash. That's why we're opening a bank account. So I don't know if you had any other thoughts or questions around.
No, I just saw the titles that Yonks and Amy was applying for the account, so I assumed it was personal. I didn't, and I'm sorry, I was getting a phone call. I assumed that the opening of accounts would be done by a proposal process. Maybe I missed it.
Yeah,
you missed it. We did have a proposal that was a while ago on Snapshot, and it was discussed on I think a core team call who wanted to open the bank account, and Amy was.
I remember that. I didn't know that a decision was made to use the Upwork.
Yeah, well, the original decision was to use Avanti, but that they're not open for bank accounts. We can't find any way. Amy and I had both requested more information, and neither of us had heard back. And there's no sign up page, and there's no create a login. There's just nothing there that looks like they're open for business yet. So the next choice down was Uphold, and then we did a separate proposal on that, and that passed. So that's where we are right now. So since Amy had volunteered to open the bank account last time, we just asked her to do this one.
And we just wanted somebody else in the process besides Tyler and myself. And Amy said that she would be available to assist with that. And one of the things too, like, and the first half of this live stream, I think, will probably answer some of those questions. So I'd encourage you to go back and watch the first half of this. And I'm gonna go on mute here myself so that I can get back to the filling in this form so that we can see what the next step is on this Uphold process.
So Poopster is really, really good at treasury management. And one of the things that he has to take on in the first quarter was to start managing our treasury. So one of the things that you can do some really interesting things. I don't know if any of you guys have gotten into fiat farming, crypto farming. There are different tools and different words for it, but there are all kinds of ways that you can trade crypto in different currencies. You can stake crypto and earn different things. We can do all that as REtoken. So one of the things that we'd ask Poopster to do, and that's not going to come up on this call, but just something to look for in the next month or two, is to take advantage of things like you can stake Ethereum and functionally loan it to another organization, and they'll pay you in their currencies. You can stake Ethereum and you still have your Ethereum, and then you can get Polkadot or Kusama or different currencies. So that's those are some opportunities that Poopster wanted to present to the group. And the thing that's interesting is you still have your original currency. So it's not like you're selling Ethereum and buying Polkadot, which you can do if you want to, or you can just basically lend it to people who need to do that. And yeah. Do any of you guys have any experience with farming, or have you done that before?
Like
I think
corn or
Poopster,
wheat?
I think Poopster or Blur's Day may have.
And you're talking yield farming, right, Tyler?
Yeah, unless you want to grow a field of yields, which
Well, you know, we are the breadbasket to the world. At least that's what we've been referred to in the past. United States, that is.
Yeah, so some of the things are really interesting that we can do. And the big thing is, as the treasury management grows, or as the treasury grows, the treasury management is also going to grow. So I just want to kind of put this out there for the future. I'm going to ask Poops, and I haven't asked Poops about this yet, but I'm going to ask him if he'd be open to teaching some sessions on what yield farming it is, how it works. He actually started some channels in the Discord server that talk about this. There's some good websites. Let's do DeFi. I think it's let's do DeFi.com is one that he likes. And there are some other tools out there that will teach you yield farming. And I think that's something that would be a really interesting value add that we could teach people in the future. Poopster is really good at it. So just to have him available as a resource, that's good.
So I got the what do you call it? The stuff that I didn't want to see on the live stream as far as like the tax ID number. But let's go ahead, like the business category here. This is the choices that we have. And I was just scrolling through this list. I think the real two choices that I was seeing on this list is either education or learning, or real estate or construction. So I will defer to you all as far as how that, and this is again, the business category. Thoughts? Education or learning, real estate? Two choices I think make the most sense. I'll
Is
just do
this
real
the
estate.
DAO account that we will use for the project, or is this the DAO account that's going to be for content creation?
Well, I mean, as far as this will just be the REtoken DAO business account at uphold.com. So how
What
that
are
we
the-
use.
What are
Go
the
ahead,
other
Teresa.
options, Jason? I don't think that you should use either of those for the DAO. What are the other options under business?
Crypto serve. I mean, I can scroll through the list here. If I go too fast, let me know. That's it.
Keep going down.
That's it.
What are the options under consulting?
How are we consulting?
No, it says consulting, IT, or business services. What are
Right.
the
And
options when you put
I
that
would
one?
say, well, that's when you engage in consulting services, which we haven't identified on our roadmap for providing. We've definitely identified education or learning through our fractionalized real estate certificate program. And we are REtoken, the real estate DAO. So that's kind of why I was leaning more towards education or learning, or real estate or construction. I think education or learning, with where we're positioned right now and what we have on the roadmap, makes the most sense.
Can you click on the consulting, IT, or business services so I can see what the subcategories are
Sure.
on purpose?
So
Okay.
consulting, IT, and then the scope of business.
Slow down, please. Scroll back down.
So and again, the reason that we haven't roadmapped doing any type of consulting or professional services. So that's kind of why I would prefer to not categorize our business as that.
I think the most appropriate would be management consulting, or web and mobile application development, or other services.
And again, Teresa, we haven't roadmapped doing any professional consulting services. So if that's something that you would like to put forward
No,
through,
it's no, I think that you're confusing the results of what the organization is doing with the role and function of the organization. The function of the organization is to manage and pretty much direct, consult the other organizations that you talked about, Token Town, the DAO Hack, and many other baby DAOs coming from the organization. So with REtoken DAO LLC, we're organizing and managing the creation of those items that you're referring to.
I have said and will continue to say we are a content DAO, and one of the things that we are creating from a content standpoint, because the purpose of this categorization is where are we anticipating receiving funds from? So what will be the revenue streams of our business? So when you talk about categorizing a business, our anticipated revenue streams, based upon what we've indicated on our roadmap, is the certificate program, which would absolutely categorically fall under education or learning. We haven't talked anything about providing.
Well, I would say use education or learning.
And again, like, I think the opportunity for us to potentially provide some type of consulting services down the road could exist. Like, one of the professional services DAOs that Tyler and I are engaged in is Creator DAO, and Creator DAO will absolutely be a conversational piece here in REtoken, because we are going to initiate through the Token Town grant that we received, hiring Creator DAO for content marketing agency services. So that's, again, something that will be coming here. Like, just received the we did into our multi-sig treasury safe the $10,000, and it was in the form of Matic from the Polygon ecosystem DAO.
Well,
So
I was just basing my recommendation off of restricted industry.
No, and yeah, and again, my understanding for this is where we're anticipating receiving revenue from, and until we are intentional about developing consulting services, like where we receive funds from that.
No,
So-
the revenue
Hey,
revenue would be received from
hey,
the
guys,
company that's developed.
It's 3:58. This call's ending in 2 minutes. So can we just agree on one and then we can change it later if the purpose of the DAO changes?
Yeah, I've got the education or learning and online education or learning. There was only 3 choices for that, and that was obviously the most one, because any type of certificate program we create will be online. So purpose of the Uphold account is to facilitate payments for our business. Facilitate online. Is that a fair purpose? Source of funds? Let's see. It's too short. Let's see. We are opening an uphold.com business account to facilitate online payments for various. That's kind of funny that it wanted it to be longer. Source of funds, grants. That's funny too. Source of funds must be between 50. REtoken DAO LLC has received several grants from various sources, including Polygon Ecosystem DAO. Source of funds. I'm not sure what I should put in here. I guess I'll just do some screenshots of the Gnosis safe. Let's take a look at that here real quick. So we have REtoken has a Gnosis safe on Ethereum mainnet, which is the one that you see here. And let me switch this, and let me switch the switch it up here, and I'll get a screenshot to upload for this, and refresh this right here. And I'll just throw this screenshot. And the other, I'll open this in another tab. The other Gnosis safe that we have is on Polygon, which is the network. I was just talking about the Polygon Ecosystem DAO grant that we are the recipients of for our Tokentown, Colorado project. And this is the one, like you can see here, this just came in like super recently, looking at this, literally on the 18th of December. So that's, again, the conversations will be heating up as far as making use of that so that we can work on getting our Tokentown, Colorado founding citizens sold, and then work on creating the HOA destroyer to move that initiative forward. So I just wanted to show that for the benefit of everybody. These are the two Gnosis safes that we have, and this is what I'm going to be providing on the upload for uphold.com. And I'm going to let Mrs. Yonks drive the conversation while I'm saving and uploading these screenshots here.
I'm just super excited that we are only 6 months old and we've already won a contest, gotten a grant, and gotten a major airdrop. So pretty excited about 2022. I think it's going to be great. And I'm really excited to get these designations launched, because I think that's going to continue to position us as experts, and it's going to be a great cash flow for REtoken and will enable us to do lots of cool things as a community. So pretty excited about that. Have any of you done it? I know, Teresa, you've done, I think you did Proppy, and have you done any other industry designations, or Amy or KR Wynn? Have you guys done any professional designations? Oh, we lost Teresa. Amy or KR Wynn, have you guys done any professional designations or had any really positive experiences on those?
Hi there, how's it going? It's Nicholas Kerwin. I have a certified Bitcoin professional certificate. Other than that, I have not really followed up on too many of those. I guess I paid $100 for it in Bitcoin 18 months ago. So not the the greatest return on that investment. I do have a question about like the certification programs that you that you have in mind. Like, are you thinking that you're going to use another security tokenization platform and basically do a course on what they offer, or are you planning to build something for REtoken DAO specifically?
So
Well-
the plan right now, and this is a little bit TBD, but the plan right now is to have 3 levels of certifications for original coursework that we write, which are fractionalized real estate beginner, fractionalized real estate expert, and fractionalized real estate professional. And the whole goal is to provide probably a webinar or a series of webinars, and then a test at the end that is going to be produced once, and then people can just buy it on demand. It's going to be gate kept in some way, either through Mighty Networks or some other platform, and people can buy the course, watch it at their leisure, and pass the test, and then we'd give them a certificate and potentially an NFT or something to show them that they have that and they have the rights to use the name. And the way that we were thinking about writing this was to get collaborators who are in the industry and then put together content, and then it would be content that's owned and produced by REtoken, and to sell that as a way for the treasury to make money.
So the short answer is that it's going to be a certificate program that we develop in-house. The other opportunity about like the fractionalized component, Mrs. Yonks and I are huge fans of co-op housing. We've regularly and will continue to talk about plans of developing a co-op housing NFT and a co-op housing protocol. So when you think about fractionalized housing, like imagine, and this is one of the origin stories, and I'm not going to tell that story here, but Mrs. Yonks and I, we came to the realization that we're not economically incentivized to keep our own space clean. And we love hosting Airbnb. I mean, we love, meeting people that love to come to Colorado or wherever we may have our Airbnb opportunity for other people to stay with us. And like, that is co-op housing, but the opportunity of potentially having a co-op housing mate. So when you think about fractionalized, it's not just fractionalized in the aspect of the real estate tokenization, but also potentially fractionalized in the co-op housing aspect. So there's a lot of opportunities, because we really believe from a revenue stream, co-op housing is the most economically, especially, it's not just affordable housing. We're passionate about creating equitable, affordable housing. And that equitable is a key component, because one of the things that Mrs. Yonks and I are very passionate about is helping renters become owners, and home ownership. Anyway, that's another story for another day. But and I'll potentially go back on that. I'm wanting to get back on track. So on this source of wealth, and this is one of the things you saw the screenshots that I just uploaded as far as the source of funds, supporting documentation, source of wealth, business activity. Please describe usual business activity, daily operations. We are a content platform for the proliferation of real estate tokenization, working towards disrupting the legacy real estate industry with blockchain technology. And one of the things too that became very apparent, I went to a happy hour where I was connecting with real estate professionals. I was like, hey man, we're talking about or disrupting the real estate industry. And the way that I approached that, I was kind of at the end of the happy hour, kind of by myself, because unfortunately, a lot of people, especially if they're successful, people are hesitant to change. So I'm really excited to hear more about the designation. This is one of the things that I have to answer Mrs. Yonk's question earlier. I started out my professional IT career in the early 90s or the late 90s, early 2000, and I obtained a certificate, the Cisco Certified Network Professional in 2000. And that was a big catalyst for my IT career that I identify as psychologically unemployable. True story. You may hear me use that. I use it quite often. So anyway, I'm going to get back to the activity here of completing this business account intake form. So business channels. So like, I don't even know. We create an increasing amount of content and are currently in a funding mode for establishing our fledgling Wyoming DAO LLC as REtoken, the real estate DAO. Okay, please confirm if you currently do business outside of the country that you are registered in. We'll say no for right now. And that's one of the things. It's kind of like with the content business. And that's one of the things, like right now, we don't have any identified sources of revenue. The only revenue that we've received, or it's not even revenue, we've received some bounties, and then we received this grant, and then we received the airdrop. So we've only had like 3 situations, and we're expecting that to change in 2022 as we're being more intentional about creating value for the world, and that will primarily be in the form of content. And then, as we've already been talking about, this fractionalized real estate certificate program, which we have on the roadmap. So I'm going to just say less than 100,000 right now, monthly processing less than 10,000, website URL, and this one is currently online, but we're in the process of revamping and migrating from retoken.info to ret.team, leaning heavily into the team aspect. Huge fan of the together, everyone achieves more connotation. So primary account holder information, and this is where I'm going to pull this off of the screen, put in my details. And I don't know if there will be, and right now, I don't know if we need to go through, how long do we want to keep this live stream open? I mean, this is like fairly, I mean, I can pull this off and we can keep this going. I want to get this done.
You're
go ahead,
15
Tyler.
minutes. You're 15 minutes into our next call, Jason. So we're already running late.
Do we have a next call scheduled?
Yeah, this call scheduled 15 minutes ago.
Well,
so,
I mean, I would
push it back.
Yeah, why don't we reschedule this? Because I want to get this done. I mean, like going back to the proposal, this is a proposal that concluded over 2 weeks ago. So I have no problem keeping this live stream open. I think that this is a higher priority. We can reschedule the POAP design conversation on that, because I really feel that this is something that we need to get in place for different reasons. But I'm good with either way, and I'll let other people decide. And you're the one that's co-piloting this, so I'm going to pull this off the screen, and you can make a decision or with everybody else here.
Sure. So I'll go back, Nicholas. So one of the things that we are interested in is there are so many moving parts of REtoken. First of all, a lot of people don't understand what fractionalized real estate ownership is. So when we start talking about co-op housing protocols and things like that, we want to be able to say, hey, if you are living, so Jason and I are based in Denver. So we want to say, hey, if you're based in Denver, a 2-bedroom apartment costs $2,500. An average house costs 550,000. Both of those have been consistently going up 10 to 30% a year. So you're trying to make headway financially, especially as a younger person, it's really tough. So one of the things that we're trying to solve a real world problem. So the first thing we got to introduce people to is the idea that if you want to live in a 4-bedroom house, maybe you just want to own one of the bedrooms and an undivided share of the house, because you could get 5 friends in a 5-bedroom house for 100. Each of you throws in $100,000 mortgage, and then you each own a share of that house, and now you've got an asset that you can use and sell or rent out. So we have to introduce people to the problem, and then we want to tell people what all the solutions are, and we want to walk them through crypto and blockchain. A lot of people think that blockchain and Bitcoin are the same thing. And so we're really opening up a big rabbit hole. That's why we want to do this over a number of courses and say, this is what fractionalized real estate is. This is how you can fractionalize it through tokenomics. Again, these courses are so back of the napkin right now that they can look however we want. So if that's something that you're interested in or passionate about, we're probably going to be forming a team here on that in the first quarter next year. You're welcome to join us on that. And we want to go through this thing like an industry designation, have content that is interesting and compelling, and that's very informative. We don't just want to rabble a lot of fluff at people and then they say, okay, I've got this designation that I still don't really understand what it is. We want to attract a lot of people. Jason's favorite question is, how can you invest in real estate for under $100? And most people have no idea. If they have any answer at all, they'll say, well, I guess you could buy shares of a real estate mutual fund. That's it. That might be all they can come up with. Or they say there's no way. And to say, hey, would you like to do this through tokenomics? If you want a bigger share, you can do it through the co-op housing protocol. If you want a smaller share, you can do it through a token. It just blows their mind. They've just never had an opportunity to play before.
I really like the concept of fractional ownership. Definitely like been a fan of Rally Road for a while now. And I think it's inevitable that it is going to lead to more more presence in the United States, but I don't think it is here yet. And I'm just I'm not sure how you could put a lot of work into doing a certification program on something which will probably be still under development for the next maybe 6 to 18 months, right? Like there has got to be some huge real estate groups out there that are trying to do that, which is why I was maybe pointing to trying to identify those as a partnership opportunity. And then the next thing might be to focus on acquiring real estate or acquiring properties for the goal of building these communities in the future. That may be something that is well suited to DAO contribution and management.
Yeah, those
Rally
are both great
Road.
ideas. So we love Rally Road.
Have you acquired any fractionalized interests there? That's something that we actually have an account at Rally Road.
Do any of you guys want to share what Rally Road is? People who are not familiar with it.
I do not have anything off of Rally Road, but I've heard of, I've listened to several podcasts and been following them. It's sort of like Helium. Like I once pitched Helium to somebody who was selling, a big investor that was basically telling me that it's blockchain, not not Bitcoin, and I was like, well, maybe you'd like this helium thing, and I didn't invest in them either.
Well, so what Rally Road is they have decided that you can just fractionalize anything. So my favorite was Jason and I bought like 3% of Michael Jordan's 5,000th game-winning jersey or something like that, and we bought it for I think $150, and some collector wanted it in their private collection and paid $750,000 for everything, and they just cashed it out, and all of a sudden we had like our 150 turned into 250 because that's what happened. And so we bought shares of cars and shares of comic books and whatever. But it's an interesting thing. I'm pretty sure that they use Reg A plus, not Reg CF. And that's so in answer to your first question, yeah, if there's a possibility that we can find another education platform that's doing similar content to what we want to do, and it's really good and it's the same material, then sure, we'd be potentially open to a partnership with them. Most of the designations that I've seen out there are pretty poorly done, if I'm being totally honest. So I'm sure there are designations out there I haven't seen yet, but keep your eyes peeled. If you see one that's just really well done, then sure, I'm totally open to that. The other thing is we are doing a project in tandem with this that you said we should buy property to tokenize. We are selling the governance tokens through Token Town right now, which is a neighborhood that we're going to be building. And those are for sale right now. We've got 32 tokens at 1 Ethereum each that we've sold for 32, and we're expecting to sell those out here in the first and second quarter next year. Once we have the governance token sold, we're going to be doing a regulation securities offering, which again was what I was talking about before, was whenever you're dealing with securities offering, you've got SEC and FINRA involved, and you have lots of eyeballs on you, and you want to make sure that all your T's are crossed. It's super important. The Token Town, this is what we're selling, the founding citizenships. Once we've got the governance done, then the governing committee can start making decisions. And so if you're really interested, buy in for an Ethereum. If that's a financial barrier, then we are going to be starting a DAO that you can buy in probably for 0.1 Ethereum, that every 10 members of that DAO will get one founding citizenship. So it's a way that we can lower the financial barrier to entry. Once we get the 32 sold out, then we're done. And then that group of NFTs is going to govern Token Town, where it is, what it is, how it works. And the only parameter that Jason and I put on it is that it's somewhere in Colorado. And other than that, we are open to wherever the governing committee wants to put it. We're going to do a security offering for land. We're going to start building houses and selling fractional ownerships in them. And yeah, we're getting started on that at the same time. So we got a lot going on right now, but that's the way that's all going to be put together.
So to clarify a little bit further, say the regulatory landscape becomes clear. Are you envisioning building the fractionalization protocol, or hiring developers to build it for you, or are you going to pick a niche and drill down on that specifically, whether it is developing small communities or specific Airbnb rentals and stuff?
There's a great channel on our Discord that's securities regulations, and there's really 3, and I'll ping you in the on Discord for you to take a look at, because as far as the underlying technology, the securities regulations partners, and there's really 2 that are the third one, the alternative trading system, that's the secondary market. So we need to be concerned about the issuance of the real estate tokens, which involves 2 components: the broker dealer, and we're primarily right now looking at regulation crowdfunding, not going to go into details why, and then the registered transfer agent. So take a look at those. We can have more conversations, but those conversations, we'll have to work with, because really it's the transfer agent, because the SEC doesn't recognize the public blockchain today as a chain of custody. So the
So-
transfer agent is the one that we'll need to work with as far as the technology solution. So that's kind of like, that's why we're not spending a lot of resources as far as like conversations like, oh, well, which blockchain technology makes the most sense? I mean, we're going to have those for fun. But
Hey,
at the end of the day, it's the transfer agent that will really drive the underlying decision, and the broker dealer, because those two work together with the issuance of the real estate tokens that we'll be creating here through the process here.
So the biggest thing to keep in mind on this is our goal is to create a small neighborhood, 50 to 100 houses. We're calling it Token Town because we thought the name was catchy and easy to remember. We don't have any interest in forming an actual town with a police force and a municipal building and all that. So we're not actually forming a city. We're forming a neighborhood. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because Jason and Amy need to put in some confidential information into the bank account that we don't want on the live stream. But hopefully this was helpful to everybody. KR Win, if you want to connect with me more on Token Town, I'm happy to go through more of our process. And these conversations are going to be ramping up more in here in Q1. But yeah, that's what we're doing. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and close this out and jump off here and let Jason and Amy go and get the bank account going.
All righty, thanks everybody for hanging out. Make sure you smash the like button and the subscribe button. We're going to be bringing some great content, and we'll probably have an update on this topic specifically as far as what our experience has been with this process, the avantibank.com and then also the uphold.com. And we put forward the problem and the goal here. And like I said, we'll provide some type of an update here down the road as far as what that experience looked like to keep you all informed. And hopefully it'll be a fabulous experience. But did anybody else have anything here before we bring this live stream to a closure today? All righty. Well, thanks everybody. This is Yonks again with REtoken, the real estate DAO, and this was How to DAO Business Accounts. So until next time, folks.